Hi all. So let's talk about the limit we have for the lambda concurrency for a single account. And this limit is for a single account. It is not a limit for single application in a AWS account. So this limit is for the whole account or all the application we have inside our AWS account. And this scalability limit for the lambda function is 1000. So your lambda function can replicate itself or scale up to 1000. Okay, so let's consider a scenario that we have this one application at the top and another application in the middle. So the load for the first application increases and your lambda start to scale up and it can go up to 1000, remember? So now it has started scaling up and now it has reached its limit, which is 1000, which is fine. So this application is doing fine. But now what happens? There is no limit available or no instances available for lambda for the second application. So in that case, the second application, this one will start to throttle. So which is not a good case for us. So what you want to do is set a reserved concurrency limit for all the application you have. So you can set it up as 500 or you can even go up to 900 for this one. So at least some instances for lambda are available which can be used by other application. So that's how we fix this problem. Okay, and the limit which we have for this whole account is called the unreserved concurrency. Okay, and you can increase it also by raising the ticket to AWS like we. And okay, so let's move on to the other topic we have for today, which is the lambda versions. So in any organization you join, there will be different environments. So there will be development environment where the developers can test their changes, and then there is testing, then there is prod, which is actually the live environment or the actual product which is being used by the whole world, you can say. So what you want to do is so you guys know that Windows is always releasing new versions. So this versions is just like that. So the older version have the old code and then you start to build up or do some changes and then you create new version. So you don't want to push those version directly to your production account because there could be bugs also in that. So for that you can create lambda versions and run the perfect version or the old version in production, and then start writing code and start doing some changes in the other version which is v2 for this architecture we can see. So and start doing these changes and then push that version into your test account or your development account and then do some testing there, then push the version 2 to your production. So let's see how to do that in AWS console. So we will go to our code. We already had a lambda function created, so let's remove this is not needed. So I'll just print this is the perfect code v1. So we wrote some code, developed an application, now this is perfect. And then we will create a new version from this. Okay, so we can go to actions, publish new version, then click on publish. So now you can see the UI has changed a little bit. It says test lambda colon 1. So now this is the new version we have for our lambda function. So this is not editable. You cannot edit it. Remember, versions cannot be edited. Only your code, which is in the previous version. So you can also go here and go to your basic lambda function, and then you can start creating a new version for your application. So let's say we have created a new version v2, then let's create a new version from this for your lambda application, publish a new version again, then publish. Okay, so now we have created two versions. Now there is one more thing, which is aliases. So in order to create alias, so alias could be your application environment. Okay, so we will name our first alias as dev. Then we can select the version for this as 2, because remember 2 is the new version which developers are working on now, and save this. Then we can create another alias. Let's go to the basic lambda function interface and create new alias for your production environment. Create alias prod, and then we will select the version 1 here, which is the most stable version you have. Okay, so let's test it. Test our production code, and we can see that this is the perfect code v1. And now your developers are working for your version 2, which would be the new code you will be publishing to production. Okay, so now here is the best thing. So instead of directly pushing your code to production, you can redirect some of the traffic to your development environment to test the code to see how it is actually behaving. So in order to do that, you can actually go to your development alias, and then we have to edit this. Let's go back to the, okay, yeah, aliases, then edit. Then we have to create a weighted alias and then redirect some of its traffic to the version 2. Okay, so currently the weightage is 100%, and in real world, in real production environment, what you would want to do is send only 10 or 20% of your traffic to the development environment or your test environment. But for the purpose of this video, I'll redirect 50% of the traffic to the development environment, so we can see how the traffic is getting redirected. So let's save this, and you can see here that now development has version 2 and production has both the version, which is version 1 and version 2, and the weightage is 50-50. So 50% of the traffic would go to the version 1, and then 50% would go to version 2. Now let's test our application. So go to, okay, let's go to our production environment and we will test it now. Then click on test, and in the logs you can see this is the perfect code v2. So it printed v2. We are on prod, and if I run it again, this time it will print v1. Perfect. So 50% of the traffic is now getting redirected to our development environment. So now this type of production migration or production deployment is called canary deployment. Okay, so when you don't push everything directly to production, you test some of the traffic with the new version and then push it to production. This type of deployment is called canary deployment. Okay, that's it for this one.